So I'll be very interested to know about that, and I'm sure we all who are listening in this session would like to know more about Draupadi, who had a very mercurial character to play in, and very important character to play in Mahabharata. And I would like to welcome Dr. TANU Sharma ji. TANU Sharma ji, welcome to the floor. So I'll be very interested to know about that. I would say, I'm sure we take stage and kind of share your thoughts on this book and your very mercurial experience in meditation play and very important character play in Mahabharata. And I would like to welcome Dr. TANU Sharma ji. TANU Sharma ji, welcome to the floor. So I'll be very interested to know about that. I would say, I'm sure we take stage and kind of share your thoughts on this book and your very mercurial experience in meditation play and very important character.
Okay, so thank you, Gopi sir, for this wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. So good evening, one and all present here. Myself, Tanu Sharma, BMS final year student from National College of Ayurveda, Hisar, Haryana. First of all, I would like to thank Sangeeta Nehra ma'am, who supported a lot in my spiritual journey. From her guidance only, I came into meditation. Trust me, she is a goddess. Thank you so much, ma'am, for supporting me throughout. So good evening, now let me open my
Myself, Tanu
presentation.
Sharma, BMS final year student from National College of Ayurveda, Hisar, Haryana. First of all, I would like to thank Sangeeta Nehra ma'am, who supported a lot in my spiritual journey. From her guidance only, I came into meditation. Trust me, she is a goddess. Thank you so much, ma'am, for supporting me throughout. So first of all, I would like to tell you why I came into meditation and when I came into meditation, everything. First of all, I would like to thank Sangeeta Nehra ma'am, who supported a lot in my spiritual journey. So basically, I was not at all aware about meditation and related things. But when I got to understand all this, I started enjoying it. I came into spirituality and meditation from 2016, from my first year of BAMS. After knowing and understanding the concept of meditation, I started connected my soul itself, and it helped me to find out myself better. And believe me, it is the best feeling ever a person could ever experience. I think this is the best platform for all of us to represent ourselves on international level. So the book I have chosen is Draupadi, India's First Daughter by Vamshi Krishna. The reason why I have chosen this book because all of us know Mahabharat from a different perspective, but this book is something in which the whole story of Mahabharat is from Draupadi's view. Her point of view is mainly focused in the book. Her sacrifices, her love story with her five husbands, her friendship with Krishna, etc., are mentioned in this book. So let's start our book with author's intro. So author of my book is Vamshi Krishna. Vamshi Krishna spends most of his time writing code or stories. Currently living in Bengaluru, he says he is a software engineer by chance and writer by choice. Apart from writing, he reads a lot about cricket, love, women, and failure stories. Hailing from a small town in Telangana, he says his 4-year journey at IIT BHU is the best time of his life. He strongly believes that every student for at least a couple of years in his early 20s should experience hostel life. He says he never had any clue about Mahabharat until he randomly landed on the epic a few months ago. Since then, he has been in complete awe of Draupadi's character, which led him to pen down his novel. His debut novel was Zero Not Out, that was based on his real life incidents and accidents. So here is my cover page of my book, Draupadi, India's First Daughter. So let's start from introduction. A helpless and lonely woman is always an evil man's feast. That was what had transpired after Pandavas gambled Draupadi in the game of dice. We all know the true story of Mahabharata, but none of us know the views of Draupadi. But what was she thinking throughout the war? This novel basically speaks itself as author describes so well about the character of Draupadi. Author in this novel wants to tell us that all the women are not just as beautiful structure or a materialistic thing that every man wants a woman only for the lust. She was portrayed as the cause of war,
that happened due to greed for power and game of dice. Misconceptions, misinterpretations, insults, humiliations, grief, miseries. She went through all these to a vast extent all her life. So many of us in our society blame Draupadi. Every time, everyone in our country blamed Draupadi for the war. No one is interested to know the reason behind the war, who were the main victims, who were the main sufferings that she suffered throughout her life. They were not at all worried about this. So, if we get into history, we might compare Draupadi with Cleopatra from Egypt, whose romantic relationships and military alliances with Caesar and Antony earned her an enduring place in history. Or we have Helen, whose exotic beauty was believed to be the main cause of Trojan War. But she can be seen more as a victim playing her part from behind the curtains. But Draupadi is different in a way, for she ran the show on the ground as a determined woman and an inspiring force for Pandavas besides being a victim. So, after listening to my title, many of us are thinking, who is Draupadi? What were the major sacrifices she suffered? So questions mainly arises in our mind: who is Draupadi? Is relation between her and her husband sacred or not? What was the situation of Draupadi during Vastraharan? Is Draupadi was fine with having five husbands? What were the major conflicts between Karna and Draupadi? What was the relation between Krishna and Draupadi? What were the problems faced by Draupadi in her entire life? So before telling about Draupadi, I would like to tell you brief about the characters that played a major role in Mahabharata. So firstly, Draupadi, who was born from a sacred fire and was the daughter of King Drupad. So as a result of Swayamvar that was held for Draupadi, Arjun won her. Then who is Arjun? Let's start from the beginning. There was a kingdom named Hastinapur. There were two brothers named King Pandu and King Dhritarashtra. Pandu, with Kunti and Madri, gave birth to five sons, named Yudhishthir, who was gifted from Dharamraj, Bhim from Pavandev, Arjun from Lord Indra, and Nakul Sahadev from Ashwin Kumars, combinedly called Pandavas. King Dhritarashtra with Gandhari gave birth to 100 sons called Kauravas and one daughter. Her name was Dushala. The eldest of all the sons was Duryodhan. Basically, Kauravas and Pandavas were cousin brothers. So let's back to Swamvar. Arjun won her with his skills and with his four brothers, and Draupadi went to their ashram and they were secretly living in the ashram. Kunti was busy with her household works and without even seeing them gave statement of share the thing that Arjun won. She was not at all aware of Draupadi. She didn't have any idea that because of her one statement, there would be a drastic changes in the lives of her sons and Draupadi. So, who is Draupadi? Draupadi, as we all know, was a lady who should be worshipped as she was the perfect example of mixture of beauty and courage with intelligence. But most of you might not know about her past life. Is that true? That whatever was the suffering in present was related to her past life? So the answer is yes. So let's start. When, after Swayamvar, when Draupadi came to know that she would be married to five men. After the statement of Kunti, Pandavas with Draupadi went to Drupad's kingdom. Drupad was Draupadi's father. There, Maharishi Vyas explained her fate in front of Drupad. He recited a story in front of them. So there was a sage named Modgalya. He was short tempered and was affected with leprosy, and his body had big decaying wounds with pus. He had a beautiful wife and loyal wife Nalaini. Modgalya would spend most of his time performing his prayers while his wife got herself busy in kitchen works. Because of his disabilities, romance was missing between them. Every time, whenever she tried of having physical contact with her husband, he always walked away and cursed her for no reason. One day he was very happy with his wife as she ate his leftover food in which his bleeding finger with pus
was present as followed by rituals. So basically, in old times, we used to say that the leftover food should be eaten by his wife is compulsory, is a main ritual. So that ritual is basically explained here. She explained herself with a smile and said that she had done all this because of her dharma. He gave her a boon of fantasize any man in front of her, and the sage would become that man so that she can fulfill her desires. She was very confused and wished for Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv, Indra, and calm gods all at once. And when she opened her eyes, there were 5 men as her husbands. She fulfilled all her desires with them, and years passed, and powers of Maudgalya Rishi slowly started fading away. She was so obsessed with those 5 men. Then she begged her husband to turn a handsome man and fulfill all her needs again. But that was not at all possible. She cried and fell on the ground with thud. Then the Lady Nalaini was reincarnated as Princess Anamika with same desperate desires. Years passed, she didn't found any perfect man for her. She finally pleased Lord Shiva with her endeavors. Then Lord Shiva appeared in front of her and offered a boon. She wished for a husband. He asked, "What kind of man do you want?" She said she wants a man who is honest, valiant, skillful, handsome, and got wisdom. Lord Shiva blessed her with 5 husbands, saying these qualities in a single man is not possible, and also assured her that no one will ever question for polyandrous marriage, and you will be blessed with forever beauty and youth and high libido. You will forever be Kanya. And Anamika was reincarnated as Draupadi. Whatever happening with her was her fate and blessings of Lord Shiva. So in this, no, Draupadi was not mistaken. Draupadi was not the victim. Draupadi was not the reason for this marriage. It's all her fate. So next, is relation between her and her husband sacred or not? The relation between them was absolutely, undoubtedly sacred. As guided by Narad Muni later, each Pandava were given 1 year with Draupadi, so that there will not be any conflicts between Pandavas. And yes, she never shared each other's talks with any of the Pandavas. She was the perfect wife, perfect queen, perfect daughter, daughter-in-law, perfect mother. So the next question we have, what was the situation of Draupadi during Vastraharan? This question, I have a detailed answer of this and I will tell you further in further slides. Then is Draupadi was fine with having 5 husbands? As a woman, no woman is happy of having 5 husbands, but she accepted very happily, very calmly that all this was her fate. As I mentioned, Maharishi Vyas explained in front of Draupadi and her 5 husbands that this all happenings are because of her fate. And Draupadi, being a nice woman and a mature woman, she accepted all these 5 men as her husbands. So, what were the major conflicts between Karn and Draupadi? So, Draupadi and Karn have none personal reasons and any not the main conflicts. Actually, the reason behind their conflicts are as in Swamvar was going on, and Karn first invited. So Karn is being invited, and he just asked to hold the bow and just target the fish's eye. So he just started, and Draupadi suddenly interrupted in between and said that you are the Sut Putra and I don't want to marry you. We don't know what was the reason behind that. Maybe her love for Arjun. Maybe she was not. She was a princess and not happy with marrying with Sotputra. What was that? So Draupadi's word during her swamvar might have surely humiliated Karn, but one should not quickly jump to conclusions about her character just based on this incident. What's a bigger motive than her love interest for change in a woman's nature? What's a bigger catalyst than ambition for a change in man's inherent demeanor? A woman's love for someone might push her to do something which is not a part of her inherent self. As they say, everything is fair in love and war. It was her love for Arjun that blindfolded her heart and mind at that instant. She was not even sure if Arjun would come back alive. As a woman, she might have lost the person she loved the most, but her love for him was still intact. She hoped she would come back. After all, hope is a drug. However exciting a man's offering to a woman may be, he should be sport enough to handle rejection from her. There is no point in investing time and efforts in resentment. So Karn was a true warrior throughout, and none of the Pandavas, including Draupadi, knew that he was the son of Kunti and six Pandavas. So basically, this is mentioned in the book. If Karn was fighting against Kauravas with Pandavas, then the victory will be surely to Pandavas. But this is all destiny, this is all already written, this is all Krishna's conspiracy, you can say. And yeah, that's all. So what was the relation between Krishna and Draupadi? This is the most interesting question, and everyone is curious about that. And me too. I was very curious about that, that I have bought this book. So Krishna and Draupadi, everyone knew that Krishna and Draupadi were best friends, but no one knows that Krishna and Draupadi, the relation they shared is not just a friendship, it's just a relation between God and a person who is who worship him daily. So the connection between them is so strong that without saying any word, Krishna understood all the feelings of Draupadi. The relation was so pure, so gentle, and unexplainable. So once Satyabhama and Krishna visited Draupadi in her ashram, where she was living with her husbands. So Satyabhama was very curious about knowing the relationship between her Draupadi and her husbands, but she was very curious about knowing about the relation between Krishna and Draupadi mainly, because first of all she is the wife of Krishna. Second, she know that Krishna is someone like who is obsessed with every lady on the earth. Gopikas are fan of Krishna. She know everything about Krishna, so she was curious. And with Krishna, she visited her ashram. Then she first asked her. She started her questions. She asked her, "I want to learn the trade secrets behind your successful relationships with five husbands." Then, after listening these words, Draupadi exclaimed, "Secrets?" In a very in a very confusing way. Secrets? What kind of secrets I have? So Satyabhama replied, "Yes, I, along with seven other beautiful women, I'm finding it difficult to manage one husband, and not to count the innumerable gopikas. We are unable to bind him to our love, but you alone rule the hearts of your husbands, endured with strength and beauty. They are all happily submissive to you. What kind of secret spell do you cast on them? Or is it the influence of your heavenly beauty, or any special skills in your uh, so how do you manage to keep them bound to you? I am eager to learn tricks from you." For a moment, Draupadi felt annoyed at Satyabhama, but then she understood the innocence and love for Krishna. Mainly, the curious behavior of Satyabhama is for only Krishna and Draupadi. These were only the questions she wanted to just start the conversation. So then Satyabhama asked Draupadi, "So what is the relation between you and Krishna? I want to know that when he sleeps, he only took your name. So, what was the reason behind that? So, Draupadi answered very beautifully. She answered to Satyabhama, we both acknowledge the fact that there is no physical attraction between us. We share a connection devoid of lust, which is just a platonic, healthy bonding. I see myself as his devotee and a part of my soul, but he treats me as his friend and urges me to do the same. This is his greatness. His friendship is a boon to me that fosters as love in my heart and shines as respect through my eyes. We both do not expect anything from each other. The love that does not expect anything in return from us is our friendship. I feel fortunate to be blessed by his unconditional support and affection always. Whenever I think of his face and kindness in his smile, there is an assurance and safe harbor around me. Sometimes, when I do not feel good, just the thought of his name lightens my mood. I am glad that my husbands also understand this and they feel blessed that Krishna acknowledges my devotion. Wow, such a knowledgeable person you are. I feel so relieved. I think I did a good thing coming here to see you today, said Satyabhama. You believe that you came here by yourself, or Krishna made you come here? Draupadi winked at her. Satyabhama spotted a question mark on her face and said, I did not get you. Draupadi shrugged her shoulders and said, one can never understand his tricks. Satyabhama sat there wearing a puzzled expression on her face, and then Krishna entered the scene. The two ladies are having some intense discussion here. Are you planning some conspiracy against me? He said playfully. I wish, Satyabhama said, curling her lips. Draupadi chuckled and said, Krishna, is there anyone in this universe who can plot something against you? Three of them shared a laughter, and Satyabhama bid goodbye to Draupadi. So I'm sure you all are very clear about the relationship between Krishna and Draupadi. So about Draupadi, I want to tell you some glimpses about Draupadi. She was almost got stripped but clothed herself in self respect. She was a compassionate and merciful woman, but had the mind to revenge against the evil. She was not the character that would bear humiliations on her face. She never apologized for being a strong woman. She was also humiliated by force and wrongfully portrayed as the cause of the wars, used anger as shield for grief in her heart. She was being a queen in exile, but her personality never lacked royalty. Offered her entire being to conquer lust, anger, and greed of men. A warrior without armor and Pandava's strongest weapon. A bruised soul with bulletproof character, a bruised with an emotional scar that would haunt her forever. There's so much uniqueness in her beauty that she never felt anxious about fitting in the societal standards. So the main incident, the Vastraharan incident, the entire Mahabharata is based on Vastraharan moments. So before starting Vastraharan moments, Vastraharan incidents, I am sure that you are all aware of the characters of the Mahabharata, the main leading roles of the Mahabharata. So I would like to start it. So he slapped Draupadi hard on the face. So who was he? He was Dushasan. Dushasan, Duryodhan's younger brother, and he was so ruthless, so just selflessness. He was so selfish that he was not aware that the lady he was dragging on the floor, she was the motherly figure to him. It was not just a slap but an open-handed smack from him that stung her like an electric shock. On her sensitive red cheeks was now a deep cut with his finger rings made of gold touched her. She could sense a warm steam of sweat running down her forehead and into her bare toes. She felt dizziness and ache in her head. It was not just physical, but an intense sorrow crushing her from inside. He caught her by her hair and started forcibly dragging her with all his might. She started pleading him, with tears flooding her eyes. He could see her tears, but not the heavy emotional trauma those tears carried. She was a wife to 5 men and a motherly figure to him, but still he was lusting her. She was she wished she could hide all her beauty somewhere so that she would not have to face any more humiliations in her life. If a man finds her beautiful, it is her fault. If she exudes self confidence in her life, it is her fault. If she fights for her dignity, it is her fault. If she demands respect based on her worth, it is her fault. If she craves the freedom of expression, it is her fault. What action of a woman is not faulty? She desperately wished for a day when men would start looking beyond what's visible to the naked eye in a woman, the epicenter of that her heart. So in this Vastraharan incident, the one person only there was only on one person in the entire kingdom who supported Draupadi. None, even not Bhishma, even not the Pandavas, even not Dhritarashtra. No one is in favor of Draupadi. All are in favor of Kauravas. All were quiet and just shutted their mouth and stood there and only enjoying the picture, only enjoying the scene. So the one man who stood in favor of Draupadi is Vikarn. Vikarn was the younger brother of Duryodhan and Dushasan. He was the only Kaurav who stood against the Kauravas, his brothers, his 99 brothers, and with Draupadi, who was the motherly figure to him. And obviously she was sister-in-law to him, and he respected him a lot, and he was a person who always followed the path of justice, and his mother also knew that, and his mother never interrupted in between. So Vikarn is a role model for modern day men, raising his voice against the ever soaring atrocities happening against women. He was brave enough to make a choice of not being a mute spectator of the barbarous act happening in front of his eyes. Instead, he tried knocking sense into the heads of evil. He was generous enough to see his mother, a woman who was being subjected to physical abuse, and protested against it. He had to let go of his share of wealth and kingdom just because he fought for justice on behalf of a helpless woman, but he endured the suffering with a smile on his face. Very few would be gusty enough like him to emulate the way he supported Draupadi during the Vastraharan scene. So basically, none of them stood up against Kauravas. Everyone was sitting there and enjoying the scene. So Draupadi, at one time, Draupadi just hand over herself, her soul, her body to Lord Krishna, and she just closed her eyes and said, "Krishna, I'm all yours. Whatever you wanted to just be with me, you will do that, and I'm all yours, and my soul is all yours, my body is all yours." So there was a very strong connection between them. Then that Krishna, with a very much distance, he was I think he was in a war that took place, and it was all the conspiracies of Kauravas, and from there only he just helped her, and we all know how he helped her. He rescued him, he saved her, and he was the only who saved Draupadi, and he showed her friendship, he showed his friendship to them, he showed his concern to them, and and yeah, we know Krishna is the one who is the main lead of Mahabharat, who just for to finish the all the injustice, all the adharma present in our society. He was just he took initiative and just led the war. So next. So yeah, after the war, after they they succeed in the war, Pandavas won the war. So basically, after the war, Draupadi was the queen, Yudhishthir was the king of whole Aryavart. Hastinapur was hand over to them, and then they started their journey to heaven. So in middle of the heaven, they rested in Himalayas. So in Himalayas the temperature was too low, and the cold was too much that she felt an invisible force blocking all her senses, slowly sucking up all the energy she had in her body and crushing her. Misconceptions, misinterpretations, insults, humiliations, grief, miseries she had been all through these to a vast extent. To a few men, she was a testament of divine purity and devotion, while most of the others stared her with sexual desire. A few were imbued with reverence for her, while another few looked at her with disgust. All her life, she had seen conflicts at whichever place she had stepped in. She had experienced all the physical pleasures and agony a living being could ever had. What else was left her to experience except for death? All she could see was a magical white layer in front of her eyes, getting thicker, gradually blocking her vision. She was experiencing absolutely nothing, feeling as light as a feather, with her breath coming out in gasps and her bare feet cold from the freezing snow beneath. She dropped to her knees and then fell down to the ground with a thud. All her husbands could sense that she had fallen, but none bothered to look back. With the snow cracking under her body in sync with her warm heart, breaking all her inner voices, leading her to the proximity of Krishna, and she closed her eyes. So basically, as I mentioned, all her husbands could sense that she had fallen, but none bothered to look back. Only one of her husband looked back and showed concern to her. That was Bhim. Besides his great body structure, but he was the only one who was concerned about Draupadi. Sorry. So when Bhim asked Yudhishthir that why are you not stopping and just show some concern for Draupadi, then Yudhishthir just replied with an answer that no, we are all over here. Our lifetime journey is dharma, and now our dharma is only just that we have to just walk away to the heaven, and and will not see Draupadi. So this is very bad, and this is the worst happening to her after she ended her life. One incident there when his name was Jayadratha. Jayadratha was the husband of Dushla. Dushla was the sister of Kauravas and Pandavas' cousin sister. So when the Pandavas, along with their wife, were living in the forest, then Jayadratha attacked her and tried to kidnap her. So basically he tried to kidnap her, but luckily Nakul and Sahadev were there and rescued Draupadi. So after these all happenings, she was just confused. She was just thinking, she was questioning to herself that even I got murdered or even I got killed, my husbands, what will they say? That we are following dharma. It is against our dharma to revenge the guy who murdered their wife, who killed their wife. So she was just thinking, she was just questioning to herself. All through this journey, all through this Mahabharat journey, she was only a helpless, only just she was just uh, helpless, that she was not able to share her feelings. To whom she will share? Krishna knew everything. Krishna, even he knew that the Vastraharan would also took part in the scene, but he only only just gave a clue to Draupadi when there was a Rajsuya Yag in Indraprasth in a kingdom of Yudhishthir. He just gave a clue that yeah, something wrong will take place. She was worried, she was tensed, but she was not able to ask her because she knew that whatever happens, Krishna will always support her, always stood with her. So yeah, let's come back to Jayadratha. Jayadratha attacked her. Then when they in Agyatwas, they went to Virat kingdom. Virat's kingdom, there Virat's brother-in-law, Kichak. Kichak tries to attack her, but all she was only always thinks if a man finds her beautiful, it is her fault. Means she was so angry, so sad, and she was so helpless. What she would do? She saw a lifeless flesh on her side. She wished if only this lifeless flesh had used its senses to keep a check on his desires while he was alive. She saw herself as flesh with a bit of life in it, which anyway did not matter to those men. Bearing that, she could not feel any difference between her and Kichak. She was tired of trying to save herself from lewd men so many times in her life that she was not even offering any resistance to those men, carrying her to the cremation land. A dreadful silence invaded her, and she wanted to die rather than being subjected to more such humiliations because of her flesh. She only thinks on that day also she was so worried. She just asked herself, where are you, Krishna? Where are my husbands? Where are my sons? I want to see them one last time. Because she was so annoyed, she was so helpless that she just uh, put all the hopes of her, and she was just waiting for the death. After, obviously, as a woman, no woman is happy of being tortured, of being physically abused, of being always sad with grief, with miseries. No woman want. So every woman in our society in today's time, the society is being so ruthless, so rude, that women are not at all safe. So we as a human tries to become at least a humble human being. I'm not saying please become Krishna. No one can become Krishna. And in today's society, every man thinks that he has a daughter, he has a sister, he has a mother, he has a wife. So no man will, if he thinks about these all these things, no man on this earth would do no any physical abuse, any torture to a female, and anything. So I'm not a feminist, and I'm not here to just explain women empowerment. I'm just here to explain women empowerment. So women are so unsafe here. We all know that. You all know, in our society, in our present era, we we see so many news. We see in different regions there are so many people who are suffered, who are suffer. Matlab, means you are not just I'm very happy that any of us are not even now a victim, and no woman should be a victim in her entire life. In our regions, the family, mainly the family focused here, family sufferings, no one can understand. What happens to family, what happens to them. So so now I think I should conclude. Yeah. So, conclusion. So, not just Draupadi, we come across the kinds of unfortunate incidents very often, even in today's world. As I mentioned before, also. To protect Draupadi from evil forces, that day in Mahabharata, one Krishna was sufficient. But for the world we are living in now, rescuing Draupadi from the wicked men existing around us. Each one of us needs to turn into a Krishna. So before concluding, before moving further, I just also want to tell about Karn, the miseries, the questions Draupadi in Draupadi's mind. So through whole throughout the whole story of Mahabharat, Draupadi just hated Karn, and Karn hated Draupadi, and the reason of that only the Swamvar part. And then the Swamvar was revenge in the Vastraharan moment. Karn just cursed her. Karn spoke a lot of bad things. A characterless woman, a woman with 5 husbands, no no self-respect, no intelligence, none. So these were only between Karn and Draupadi. So none of the Pandavas, none of the Kauravas knew at the end of the war also that Karn was the brother of Pandavas. Even not Draupadi, even not Dhritarashtra, not Gandhari, no one. So after everyone found out that Karn, so Karn, who is Karn? Karn, who could have been throned as the king, was treated as an orphan and subjected to unjust treatment all his life. He was resentful as he did not know whose child was he was, and that was very ruthless. Means a child who doesn't know that his parents, her parents, who were her parents, who were his parents. So this is very much heart touching. So all he wanted until his last breath was an identity. Only he wanted an identity throughout the life, a sense of belongingness. Only after his death he was bestowed with all he had wished for. Such is the sad reality of life sometimes. We put our blood and sweat to achieve something in life and never get to see the fruits in your lifetime. And by the time your efforts start reaping rewards, your journey on this earth is well finished. And this the current story can be related to many people present here. And all of us might think sometimes that we have to show this, we have to show that, we have to prove ourselves in on any platform. We have to just prove our identity. Who are we? What are we? But sometimes time doesn't support us. Time just time just flies away, and none and most of us doesn't just tries to prove ourselves. So basically, the saddest part of life is that sometimes we fail to appreciate someone's worth when they are around. And by the time life hits us hard with realization, that person has already moved on. We had been so spiteful and mean to them all the while that we become someone that person did not want to remember anyone. So yeah, this can be also related. So many of us can relate themselves that all through life. So we think as a person, we curse every person. We curse a person who is very bad, who just done something wrong, who cursed. But yeah, simultaneously the person done something good for you, but nah, you only focused on the bad things and you cursed throughout your life. And then after he died, then you realize that yeah, I was wrong, and I should took a stand and just pleaded him, or just confirmed him what were the feelings, what were the desires, what were the things between us. But time, sometimes just time flies away, and we just we only sit at one place and only think about the person. So yeah, let's come to conclusion. Yeah, one thing also left. Karn, Draupadi was only confused that if if there was no conspiracy present at the at Kurukshetra war, so what were the results? So she asked Krishna many times. She asked him that what were the results if you would not conspire anything, or you supported Kauravas, or you supported Karn. Karn was only just mistakenly defeated. But yeah, Karn, as we all know, Karn was the best warrior in the whole Mahabharat war. He was very skillful, then Arjun also. And yeah, at last, she just questioned once, Krishna, is if you had not conspired anything, if there were no conspiracies, no just these insults, or these means you will be on current side and you will be fair. So who was the one who won the war? Krishna replied only once, and the answer is Karn. And the confusion, the miseries, the misconceptions all cleared in Draupadi's mind, and the novel ended. So, yeah, we as a country that taught the rest of the world to see God in Mother have failed multiple times as a system to save the life and dignity of women. Her strong determination, grit, and the way she did not rest till her husband's avenged Kauravas for molesting her in public makes her the strongest female lead not just in Indian epics but also in world history. So she did not rest until her enemies were beaten to death by Pandavas in the Kurukshetra war. Unfortunately, at the end of the war, blame lied with her, while her husbands were remembered for their virtues. No one ever blamed Pandavas that they stood in front of entire kingdom, and the scene of Draupadi being just stolen away the clothes, and no one is even bothered to blame Pandavas. So all blame lied with Draupadi. So her so yeah, I believe that readers are of two types: those who show interest in novel stories and those who are curious about know the existing stories are rewritten. And yeah, of course, some fall in both the categories. So basically, I don't see Draupadi just as a character, but more of a brand ambassador for all the strong women. It is very high time we tell the younger generation to be fierce instead of being nice. Yeah, these then the author conclude his novel. I understand that meddling with iconic characters from our epics is a risky challenge. I did try my best to explore Draupadi's inspiring life journey to as a Kshatriya daughter, wife, sister, mother, Krishna's best friend, empress, homemaker, a mother also, shouldering all these responsibilities with utmost conviction throughout her life. She was the best wife, she was the best daughter in law, she was the best friend, she was the best mother throughout her journey. So a few of us believe in Lord Shiv, a few in Lord Ram, a few in Lord Krishna, a few in some other god, and a few don't believe in the existence of God. Almighty Himself could not please everyone, and I am a mere mortal here. I hope I will live up to the expectations you all had after knowing about the interesting title of the book, Draupadi. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Tanuji, thank you very much. That was a great bird's eye view of the whole Mahabharata that you gave us. And I do agree that, in some form or shape, we have not what you call recognized the role of women in our society. And we always try to portray in a, for lack of a better word, a biased way of what our women have been in our traditional, at least in our traditional mythological texts like Ramayana and Mahabharata, or even the Buddha story and all that, right? And actually, once I read the story of untold story of Sita, right, I realized the the other side of the story that was never told to us, right? And similarly about Yashodhara, who is the Buddha's wife. And I mean, we always were told about these people being very, what are called, obedient wives, and people who just kind of, never raise their eyes and just follow the husbands meekly, like those kind of things, right? But they never portrayed the agony or frustration they had, right? And once I read those books, I realized probably Draupadi would have gone through even more agony than the other, like Sita or Yasodhara, because, like you said, she has gone through a lot of humiliation, which from other people, right? That was never kind of, her point of view was never portrayed, which is very sad, because when you only present the one side of the story, the pain never gets communicated in the society. So society never sinks in that this is how much humiliation people are going in. And until you realize that, the empathy and then the thinking doesn't happen. Otherwise, you always think they were always good, happy, and all, so never know that what wrong they went through. So it's a very it was really eye opener to read those two books. And I think even though we read about Draupadi in Mahabharata and all that, like it happens, the pain never sinks in our psyche, because you're more focused on the grandeur of Pandavas, their courage, their fighting skills, and the war, and Krishna, and the Gita, and all that. And her side of story is always as, like, like a footnote or somewhere, like, right? So when you have a book that kind of talks especially about one character and kind of talks about in length, then the message sinks in that, okay, there is something that you have to focus in. And so it's a nice book, and I would definitely like to read that. And I appreciate that you are able to share your thoughts on it. But I was kind of thinking about the title, like, why call it the first daughter of India? Or I felt somewhere that she's like a lost daughter, because no one talked about her. She has so much going in her life, and no one talks about it at all. Probably even for Sita or Yashodhara, or even for all the other ladies, right? So it was kind of surprising to see why they call the first daughter of India. Like, do you think you got any idea about why he said that?
Yeah, I think maybe she was the first lady who was born from a sacred fire. None of
Oh.
the, yeah, maybe the reason is that. And yeah, from a sacred fire, and she sacrificed a lot as compared to other women. Yeah, every woman in our epics suffered a lot, including Sita. Sita as a woman, as a devi, as a goddess, she suffered a lot. But Draupadi, being a queen of Aryavart, the whole Aryavart, she suffered a lot. And this is very, very much inspiring for all the women.
Right, right. So, how did you come into meditation? Like, what was the event in your life that triggered you to join meditation? Like,
So yeah, in 2016, I was not before 2016, I was not aware about meditation, and I I just thought that what is meditation? Meditation is of no use. Then I came in contact with Sangeeta Nehra ma'am. She came to our college and she introduced us with meditation, with spirituality. She guided us a lot. She took us in many seminars and many meditation camps. Yeah, then I realized this is a very good thing and everyone should do this. And yeah, after doing meditation, we just we think like, yeah, we are top of the world.
mm-hmm.
We started connected to ourselves, not with everyone. It is very important to connect with ourselves only, and
Right,
by connecting with ourselves, we connect to we are able to connect to all the other people surrounding
right,
us.
right,
So yeah,
right.
that's all.
Okay. So, do you think meditation is helping you anyway in your career, or like in your practice, or like does it, like, do you
Yeah,
think about it?
only yeah, only today only I was very nervous. Means
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking I'm on international platform. Oh, how can I do this? Then I just for 5 minutes I have just closed my eyes and just relaxed my body, and then the result is here. I hope I hope that was the nice session. I hope.
Yeah, that was great. That was great, and it was a nice presentation. And kind of like I said, it covered the whole spectrum of Mahabharata. And in fact, I didn't knew about Draupadi's why Draupadi had to marry five males, right? So, but a chance to hear about this through Patriji during one of his wisdom speeches that she had a boon from her previous life. But I think we went even one step beyond, like her life as Nalavani, role as Nalavani, right? So I
Yes.
think it does. So because initially not knowing that, I was like, why would some woman would like to go through that kind of a situation? But when you go look from a spiritual point of view and karmic point of view, sometimes these kind of things make they kind of fall in place. I don't know whether they make sense or not, but they fall in place as to why certain things are happening. So it was nice to know all that. So yeah, it's all that, right? So uh, Nehraji, would you like to add anything here or share a few words of yours on this subject?
Yeah, thank you, Gopi sir. Thank you, Tanu. Very good presentation. Super.
Thank you, ma'am.
And the most favorite like character in Mahabharata. It is
Yeah.
wonderful presentation. And one thing I want to add that one day I was listening Patriji discourse, and he was telling about our chakras, like the Kundalani, and then the Muladhara chakra, the Swadhisthana, and Manipura, and in the hierarchy he was telling the seven chakras. So he started telling that the Kundalani is equal to Draupadi. So Draupadi is sustains in everyone, in every jivatma. So like the hidden consciousness, like he explained like this, the Draupadi is like the Kundalani, the sleeping consciousness. The sleeping consciousness is like the when we are in the war land, and we are just uh, standing in front of the war, and what to do, what to decide we have to. In the same way, like the Draupadi has given the many hands to all, that now this is the time to war, dharma and adharma. So both these things, in between that there is a Draupadi, there is a Kundalani in every person. And the Kundalani of the earth is also the Draupadi. So Patri sir, when explained like this, that is the Kundalani, and like the Draupadi is the Kundalani. So then I understood, okay, in the spiritual world is something when we are sleepy, like we are having the unmanifest part of our life. So if we manifest our parts, like in multiple, in many dimensions, like you are saying that before meditation, like Tanu was saying, okay, that is the simple girl living. But after she came into meditation, and many doctors, when they came into meditation, they rise up their energy, they enhance their consciousness, as the Kundalani is rising up in every cell. If the Kundalani is rising up, that is the Draupadi. And the second thing is the devotee, like Tanu explained very well the relationship between the Krishna and that the Draupadi is the like the devotee. She
Yeah.
was a devotee. Devotee is something when you have the relation between Atma and Paramatma. When you
Right.
become the Atma, from Atma to Vimukt Atma to Paramatma. When you
Right.
raise up from the Jivatma to Paramatma, when you become the Paramatma. So Draupadi was the character that where she tries in everyone's soul that you just raise up your consciousness. So that's
Right.
why in the last line you have written that the fires and the become, it is better than to be just show your anger, not to be nice always. We are not the
Yeah.
pleasers. Every
Right.
time we can't become the entertainment, the role. We can't play the entertainment role.
Right.
So we should not be please anyone. We have to be clear. We have to be pure within ourselves. And because of meditation, we can be fearlessness. And we
Right.
can be pure. So wonderful presentation. Thank you. Thank you all masters. Yes, now I think so.
So I would say that, in general, right, this whole feminine energy is being looked as something just to be sublime and pleasing, never wanting to stand up, right? Because of, like I said, the whole books and all that you have gone so far, right? The way they portray it. So I think this presentation would definitely bring out those nuances out and say, hey, you know what, that's not the way we should look at things. And I would also request people to read the untold story of Sita and Yashoda and Buddha's wife. They are like masterpieces in terms of talking really about what femininity has gone through. And people should go read that to understand the pain, so that it doesn't repeat again. So thanks a lot, Tanuji and Nehraji, for this wonderful presentation. So I would say, and again, thanks again for PMC Malaysia and Mahadrasa Trust and Sai Teja. Thanks to you for giving me the opportunity. And so I would give the stage back to Kathy ji to carry from here.
Thank you so much. Namo all the masters. And that was seriously a beautiful presentation, beautiful book. And I am always in love in the character of Draupadi. I cannot speak any much words because it will be lesser to explain. So thank you, Tanu, for picking up this book. And now I will like to introduce you all with the swag moment. Swag moment, save water and go green. It is a global initiative by Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement, whose mission is to improve the environmental quality and conditions of our Mother Earth by partnering with community and group leaders and aspiring environmentalists to work together to create a clean and green planet to live for ourselves and our future generations. So save water and go green. If you want to be a swag warrior, please email us at parinitha@pssmglobal.org, parinitha@pssmglobal.org to participate in this great endeavor. Along with this, PSSM has also announced a swag anthem music composing contest in which you will have to compose and voice an energy-filled catchy number for swag anthem in English, and theme of the song should resonate with respecting and conserving Mother Nature and a responsibility towards nature and pledging for safe water and go green. This contest has already been started from 1st December 2020 and will be ending on 31st December 2020. Please send us your entries on pssm.swagg@gmail.com, pssm.swag@gmail.com. Winners will be announced on 10th January 2021, and winner will get a surprise gift along with winning certificate signed by Brahmarishi Pitamaha Patriji itself, and the song will be adopted for further swag activities. Now, I would like to ask Sumit sir to please play Patri sir's message and the swag moment.
our PSSM has started a new program called as SWAG. It means Save Water and Go Green. S for save, W for water, G for go, and another G for green. Save water and go green, my dear friends. We should not waste water. We should always be very, very careful in conserving our water resources. Let us not waste a drop of water. Every drop of water should be utilized properly. Every drop of water should be used for in the best possible way. If you are wasting water, then you are contributing to the poverty of the nation. If you are conserving water, every drop of water, you are conserving the nature and you are making the nature prosper. We have to conserve water. Whenever you are seeing an open tap, please close it. Let not the water go waste. This is called as save water. And then go green. Plant trees. Everybody should plant trees. That is the most important activity for a man, for a human being, to plant trees. We want a very green planet, not a dry planet. And for plants, water is required. If there is no water, there is no greenery, there are no plants. These are the two important activities for a human being. You have to save water and you must see that everything is green. You must plant trees. While we are enjoying the trees planted by others, we should also plant trees. Everybody is forgetting this point and they are not planting trees at all. Why can't you plant trees? Why are you not aware of that fact, that you must plant trees every day? And always, every minute you must be aware of wasting water, and you must never waste water. Water is a very, very precious commodity. It is a divine commodity. And if you plant a tree, plant a seed, sow a seed, you are making it green. So this is the movement called as SWAG. It means save water and go green. I like everybody to say save water, and go green. Please repeat. Save water and go green. Again. Save water and go green. SWAG. What is SWAG? Save water and go green. Again. Save water and go green. Again. Save water and go green. Like this. Save water and go green. How many points? 2 points. What are the 2 points? Save water and go green. How many points? 2 points. What are those points? Save water and go green. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And now, Tanu, will you guide us for the medication?
Yes,
for 5 minutes. Yes, please.
So yeah, am I audible to all?
Yes, you are audible. You can please start.